today's webinar. My name is Khwan. I am in charge of accounting and payroll department here at Community CPA. Our topic today is employee versus subcontractor. The reason I picked this topic is mainly because in these past recent months, I have seen a lot of worker misclassification audit coming through to our office. So I want to make sure that today I want to share some basic knowledge with every one of you. But before we start the webinar, let me introduce you to our favorite CEO, Ying Sa. She usually is the main speaker here at most of our webinar here at the firm, and a lot of our webinar is relating to business relating. So any topic that you want to learn out there in the world, in the business world, please make sure to visit our YouTube channel to see more of the topics. And we also provide the webinar in multiple language, whether it's teach English, Chinese, or Spanish. So make sure to check out our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the like button and then subscribe to our channel. And before we really start, I want to make sure that the information that we provide here in this webinar is for informational only, and please do not use that as a legal advice. If you need help, please make sure to seek your legal consult for the legal advice. Okay, I'm sorry, but here we're gonna get started now. So most of the question I really got from my clients is that what is really the difference between the employee and the subcontractor. The easy way to think about it is employee are people who really you get to see every day. Okay, they are usually will work day to day with you. They usually will receive wages on the regular basis, and they do eligible for most of the employment benefit. The subcontractor are usually people who will usually you see it once in a lifetime. Those people that who usually come to do certain projects with you, they usually don't come all the time. So like I said, it's usually kind of one of the lifetime that you will see them. They usually will get paid by job or by project. And the best part for them is they can work whenever and wherever they want to. Okay. During the worker misclassification audit, so the question would be what the auditor really looking for. The main three component that the auditor usually look for during the worker misclassification audit is behavioral, financial, and the relationship. So in terms of behavioral, the question is, do you control what the worker doing? Okay. Do you control where they are going to be working? Do you control when the worker should start their work? If the answer to the first three questions is yes, most likely you are dealing with employees. But if the answer are no, most likely you are dealing with a subcontractor. For financial aspect of this one, the question that you can think of is who provide tools and materials during the work time. So for example, I am working here at the Community CPA. The firm provide all the equipment, whether it's a computer, printer, scanner. So most likely I am the employees of the company. Another example would be contract labor, construction. If you go to a construction site, most people will carry their own tools and equipment with them. Usually you do not see that they will have to go ask someone for a nails or the screwdriver. So most of them you will see that they carry those equipment with them. So those are subcontractor. The next one would be the relationship. These are very important for most of the audit because the first question usually the auditor will ask you is actually whether you have a written contract agreement between you and the worker, and whether the employer or the payer pay or provide any benefit to the worker. Because most of the time when you are employee in a company, the firm, in order to attract an employee, they tend to provide a lot of benefits, whether it's health insurance, 401k. So those are the benefit that the company tend to offer to an employees. But with the contract labor, there's not really a contract agreement or contract benefit coming beside the number of payment that you will receive from the project. So those are the main difference, and those are the three main things that the auditor tend to pay attention or focus on when they're doing the audit. Whether if your answer are yes to all the behavior or answer are no to all the behavior are the one that will rule you out from determining whether you are employee or the subcontractor of the company. There are 5 points of difference between employee and the subcontractor that I want you to remember. Number 1 is the dollar differences. 2 is the administrative work. 3 is the insurance. And then 4 is the government compliance. And then 5 is the business sector. Oops. Okay. So number 1, the dollar standpoint. So from what you can see in this slideshow, you will see that having an employee has a lot higher cost than having a subcontractor. The main difference reason for the difference is the employment taxes, which we will cover later on in a little bit more of toward this webinar. The second point is the administrative standpoint. So for the subcontractor, at the end of the year, they will receive a 1099 NEC, and then they are taking care of their own taxes. Okay, but if you are an employee, you will receive a W-2 at the end of the year, and as the employer, you are responsible to withhold employment taxes, match the FICA taxes, and file any necessary payroll returns on the monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. So now let's get into what is really a payroll taxes. I'm just going to give you a very brief example of what's really the difference between paying an employee and the subcontractor. So giving an example, if you are planning to hire someone as employee and you are paying someone at $3,000, most likely your cash out is $4,380. Oops, let me repeat that back. Okay. If you're hiring someone as employee and then you are planning to pay that person $3,000, after all the taxes, your most likely cash out will be around $4,380. Just giving example, okay? So because you're having a FICA employer matches for $230, and then you have a federal and state unemployment of $210, if your company also provide employment benefit, you are talking about health insurance match, 401k match. So those numbers are adding up. That's why the cost always more. But for subcontractor, whatever you're supposed to pay them, that's what they will get. Okay. In terms of insurance, any business, I repeat, any business should have worker compensation, general liability, and you also have to pay federal and state unemployment. And if you are in a professional service provider company or industry, you also want to make sure you have professional liability insurance. Example of those one is error and omission insurance. Those are the one that is for the professional liability insurance. For the subcontractor, they usually will just have two, which is the worker compensation and the general liability insurance. In terms of the government compliance, let's talk about this one. So who's really care about worker misclassification? That's really 3 people, okay? First one, favorite one of all is Uncle Sam, IRS, okay? Second one is the Department of Labor. And don't forget, last and not least, don't forget your local workforce department. So these are the 3 main government agencies that usually will come around knock on your door or send you a love letter about, hey, I want to revisit you about your employment and contract labor misclassification. Then what's really happened? If you really got into a misclassification, worker misclassification audit, and you got ruled out, or the final result or decision came out that you have a misclassification. So what that really mean to you as a business owner? The main point is now you are going to become liable for any employment-related taxes. So we are talking about those employer match of FICA, FUTA, and SUTA. So those are the main tax that they are looking for you as the owner of the company to repay back to the federal and state agency. And the worst part would be if your worker get injured during the work hours, and because you misclassify them from employee to subcontractor, they can sue you as the business owner to ask for any damage related compensation that they should receive because they cannot access any benefit, work-related benefit when they get injured. In terms of the business standpoint, in some industry, it really doesn't make any sense for you to have a subcontractor. Let me give you an example. Pretty good one would be if you are a restaurant owner. Would it make sense that most of your servers are subcontractor? The answer is no, right? Because with the restaurant server, you are required, remember the first aspect with behavior. You are telling them what to do, where they need to work, and then when they need to work. So most likely, those are your employees. But sometimes the restaurant do have a contract labor to work for them. For example, if your restaurant sink leak and you need to hire someone to come in to fix the restaurant sink, those one will be subcontractor because you just give them a call, said, hey, I have a job for you. Can you come in? My restaurant open from here to here, so you can stop by at any time. So those are tend to be a subcontractor. But in some business industries, such as construction, there is really a gray area where between employee and the subcontractor, because if I'm the general subcontractor, I can hire someone or other company to come in to work on certain part of the project for me because I don't have enough people to work for, right? So I would just call another company, said, hey, can you come in and then take care of the drywall for me? So those are subcontractor. But sometimes because you are start hiring people to work for you, especially with you. For example, like for the administrative work or other things that you start to pay them by hours, those people will become part of your company, which is mean they are become part of your employee. So from here, you want to listen the word carefully. The keyword that I have been repeating throughout this webinar is the word project. So if you have someone to work for you in a project, most likely they tend to be a subcontractor because they're only going to stay with you for just that contract, just for that project. Once the project over, they disappear, right? But keep in mind, the employee, you see them every day. So even though the project is over, they're still here with you. So that is the easy way for you to really identify whether when you are in the gray areas, especially like in construction. So that is the easy way for you to really determine that, okay, once the project over, do they disappear or they stay? If they stay, they tend to be your employee. And if they disappear and you will never see them again, mostly they are the contract labor. So before we end this webinar, the key takeaway that I want to you to remember is the three main components that the auditor usually will look for when they do the worker misclassification, which is the behavioral, financial, and the relationship. If you are not sure how to classify the worker, you can file Form SS8 to request for a formal determination for the IRS. And the best part is you can always reach out to our company. Any one of our staff would be able to help you to determine whether you are having the employee or the subcontractor. So remember, we are here, always here to help. So if you have any questions, always feel free to give us a call. Our phone number here is 515-288-3188. We open from Monday to Saturday from, we open, I start to forget what time we open. From 8:30 to 5:30, 6 days a week. So from Monday to Saturday, 8:30 to 5:30. Well, thank you for spending time with me this afternoon and hope everyone have a good weekend.